There is one thing I want to share with you about belief coding. We come out of the zone of genius. Literally, imagine that there's this door and there's this gray kind of veil on the door. It's like this veil like bends with you, and suddenly you've got gray skin and you walk into the Codex. It's pretty drastic. I ask myself the question, when did I become aware that there's actually a code running in the background? When did you become aware that there's actually a code running in the background? Or maybe you didn't. If you are at school, you never do what you like to do. You get an assignment from the teacher, and then you get to do what they say, and you get a good grade or a bad grade or whatever. And it's all about how well you figured out what they wanted. I want you to really feel this. And you go through school 10 years or more. So I know we know this, but who's felt it? Who's met that little girl or guy who was there at school and like really trying to figure out the world and being told that's how it goes? It's a feeling, right? So now, then, like 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, we build businesses. And after being through workplace and peers talking to us and stuff, for the first time, literally, you get to do what you want. And then we go, no, but it can't be. That can't be true. One of the questions is always, can this work if I do what I want? I mean, I'm not talking about throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'm not talking about you just, oh, I just show myself in all this expansiveness and suddenly it works out. But just acknowledging that you actually get to do what you want. And yeah, you naturally have a tendency to do stuff that makes sense and get the knowledge for you to make sense and get the knowledge for you to figure stuff out. That's learning. So now let's put that in relationship of, like, for me, it always has to be hard. School was hard because I had to press myself into that shape. But then it became so normal that it felt like maybe not as hard anymore to press yourself into a shape. Who can relate to that? See some reactions. And then suddenly, now we are in business, and then pressing myself into shape can also feel a little bit easier, right? Because I've been doing it all the time. And the harder bit is finding myself and to trust myself. So now we come back to that question. I would like you to hone into that question again that I said in the beginning. I asked you, when was it the first time that you actually noticed that there is this program running? And now, with the context I gave you, you probably know very well where your programs have been shaped, right? Where they hinder you. And when you maybe for the first time woke up and realized, oh, it's actually a program that is running. That's deep. Is there a moment where I can fully be me? Was there a moment where I felt not judged? So maybe you write that down. Is there a moment in life with people in a space where I can fully be me? Because this moment will teach you something about yourself, and we get to reflect on that. And everybody gets to have their own answer to this. For me, it was the yoga space. That's almost like typical, right? It's like yoga. But many people do yoga and we don't even really know what it is, because it's about the flexibility, the calming down, right? The relaxing space, the exhale. And my very first yoga teacher said, like, it's the realization that we are one. And I was like, yeah, get that. But with practice, I had a daily yoga practice for a very long time until my kid came. But with practice, I realized there's one thing that yoga did to me, and that is arriving in the body. And arriving in the body meant feeling the body. Who relates to feeling the body? So there's quite an interesting thing, because the moment when we feel something is the act of freedom. This moment when you stretch your arm out and you suddenly feel almost like energy floating through it, you arrive, you breathe, there's nothing else you have to do. You feel yourself. Suddenly there's no judgment, there's space, there's breath. And whilst for me this moment was yoga, for you it might be completely different. When you felt like yourself. In this space, the codex is gone. So even you are unconscious, there is nothing it could bring up at that very moment to stopping you. And there is no shame. This space of yours where you're absolutely free, because there is no freaking codex. And when you think of those codexes that everything in your life might have had, the school codex, the family codex, the work codex, the codex with specific friends, do we feel this? Can you think of realms and arenas where you are? The codex of being self-employed, how you have to be when you are a marketeer, how you have to be when you are a business owner. You have an imagination about everything like that in your head. And the most important thing is to realize that this is not you. So this is something you've been acquiring through environments, like almost like bubbles in society where you feel really unhappy or where it felt really like, oh, that's really a hard thing to be there. For me, it was being in a corporations. That external architecture, you bought into that and you automatically judge yourself. It's not them always doing something to you. It's really us absorbing that, absorbing it until you can only speak a little bit. Is it fitting or not? And I'm being a bit extreme here, but this is how in many situations we act. And the big contrast that we've heard is in this moment where there is no judgment, where there is the present moment, the presence, the observation, but it's not anymore the feelings about shame. We tend to always think, it's like everything is in a timeline, right? Like, da 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 da. But actually, I love to say that. It's like, imagine if everything collapses in the now. The woman that you've been before, the woman that you will become, everything is now here in this moment. You get to feel her now. So I invite you to be brutally honest with that. I want you guys, everything, to really feel that deeply in your bodies, because through feeling, we really become aware. We're more arriving in that moment. If we've been the person before and the person in the future all in one, the only thing you're going to have is the present moment. Eckhart Tolle says that, but that's so true, because that's where the decisions are sitting. Relate to her now. You get to feel her now. That's you. You're now a different person, but that is living inside of you. I feel me. I feel me. I still catch myself going to my husband and going like, oh, Mark, I said this and that. And was it okay? Or was it too harsh? Or and I want to get some sort of like feedback. Is that okay? So I want you to recognize this, that this is how life goes. We come out of the zone of genius that we have. And suddenly it's as if, literally imagine that there's this door and there's this gray kind of veil on the door. when you're coming out of it, and you walk through that, and it's like this veil like bends with you, and suddenly you've got gray skin and you walk into the Codex. It's pretty drastic, this image. But why are we talking about this? Is for you to become aware of it. You might go to the next meeting, or might go to the next school meeting, or I might go to the next workplace meeting to present myself in business, and I suddenly realize I'm walking through this door with a gray veil that brings my skin to, like, everything is then kind of like different. It's not me. There's a little, a layer between me and the others. And I want you to understand how it works. To really understand and feel that in your body. Now maybe you go to places where this is happening. Do we have this? Do we have places where this is happening typically? For some people, it's the moment like when the kids come in and suddenly I'm like, oh, perfect mom. I don't know. Do we feel this? And the moment you feel it and acknowledge it, that there is something happening, and maybe you've got another simile. Maybe you don't like this idea of the gray skin. I don't know. It's a disconnect, right? That's a good word also for that. It's a disconnect. There's something that disconnects. It's just about this idea that, hey, I've got my sacred space where I can be 100% me, and there is some other context, some codex, society groups, ideas of business where I walk into and I suddenly drop that. Because the moment when we start feeling it, when it comes, guess what happens? That's when you get to respond. It's not responsibility in this life, it's the ability to respond. And this is how you change your life. So there is another example from me. I like to do things very practical. So in my head like brings things into systems and line of doing things, and then sometimes I'm in the kitchen and I do like one thing after the other, after the next, after the other, after the next, after the other. And then I realize I hate it. I realize I hate it. It's just like dong 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 dong. And then I started to stop myself and say, hey, Sonia, every morning you're doing this for 15 minutes and you really hate it. But you're going to get it done quickly and it's just 50 minutes to get through. So push, push, push through. But do you want to change this little bit here? So I realize I become aware, and now I go into the kitchen and I go like, oh, okay, I get to empty the dishwasher. This is the little work. I get to really say, okay, I can either hate this work, I can fall in love with it, or I can give it to my husband. So I practice, of course, only to the point where I want to do it. I get to be very aware about it and maybe put on some music and make those moments of my life beautiful. Make them like me. And yes, how you do the kitchen or how you do your makeup in the bathroom, or I don't know what you do, what might be a bit of a hustle or hurry, or might not feel like changing a business. But here you practice taking choices, making choices, really fall in love even with those things and practice. And not look like gray in my face when I do it, but not because somebody else is looking at it, just because I decide I want to feel a different aspect of life here. So becoming aware of this transition. Of course, there is this, what I call the chewing gum, right? This thing that sticks on us, this layer, this separation, this disconnect, It's like trying to pull us back into the codex, into where we should be, into the expectation, into the, oh, I could be judged, oh, I could be even, I should feel shame, right? If I'm breaking free from judgment, at least I'm feeling shameful because that's not how a mom should be, or that's not how I, whatever. It's like chewing gum. It's like something that you get to like get rid of step by step by step in your life. But it doesn't mean that it has to take a long time. Now you might feel, oh, this is so much work. It's not that. It's not so much work. The interesting thing is the work is just the awareness. The work is the saying yes to the moment, to taking that little girl in, or little guy, and the future woman into yourself, into this moment, and respond. And there is a breakthrough moment. There is one breakthrough moment. Because you are a different person now, you're sitting here. Right? You are a different person now than you were then, than you were before. Because the now is your choice who you want to be. It's like you tune into this class because there is a yes to yourself. You tune into your business because there is a yes to yourself. That yes might not have been there a couple of years ago, an hour ago, 2 months ago, I don't know when. But the clarity is that you are a different person now. And the only thing that you are going to recode now, talking about belief coding, is the pathway that you want to take. There's a pathway that opens up into the freedom of your business, the business freedom, the business of being true to you, not having it to do right. Because there is no right, there is no codex. I know the marketing world wants to tell you there's a specific codex for your business out there to walk out there to do is exactly like this, exactly like that. But what happens if we get to take the know-how and then we tune back to us and we do it our way? But we have to reconnect to be able to do that. And this amazing moment that we shared here, this is the key. This is the door opener. This is when it feels alive. When I talk about aliveness, not gray. You're not a victim anymore. You might have been having a very hard time in whatever aspect that was. Suffering as a child, suffering being suppressed, suffering not being able to speak out. I've heard so many stories, truths. And yet, we all know we are not having to carry the consequences of that with us. We get to decide. But to decide, we need to wake up. We need to respond. And you can only respond if you feel something. If you feel something, you get to respond. So let's train ourselves in feeling something. And that's what makes the freaking work so hard. Because nobody wants to feel that. It's not necessarily all happy clappy. And it's hard to walk a new path. And then it looks easy in hindsight. And seeing the codex running. That's like really what we want to take out of this, right? And I use the word codex for belief code, because the codex for me is the architecture that comes from the outside world towards us, the codex of the school, the codex of honor. We know that somehow, right? There is like if you are in a group or whatever, the Codex of your family, whatever it is, seeing that running. And on the other side, reconnecting to the moments where you're free, the moments of unconditionality around my personal freedom. I always love to close in this, if we are conscious in this Namaste posture, because it's the thumbs touching the heart. I love that. The consciousness of the body who's here. You are here with the body and touching the heart space. Like thumbs touching the heart space. So namaste, everyone. Have a good evening.